Hi everybody, and welcome to the final episode of the Sunday Night Indigenous Sex and Love Show. I'm Edward Sear, and this is my co-host,
Laura LaValle. So we're bringing you to Oasis Aqualounge, a swanky downtown club, and we'll show you what it's all about.
Yeah, and we're here at 231 Mutual Street, and we're really excited to show you a little bit about what happens at Oasis Aqualounge and what their wonderful staff have to say.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Sunday Night Indigenous Sex and Love Show. My name is Laura LaValle, and I'm sitting here with my co-host,
Edward Sear.
and we're also sitting here with a very special person.
Hi, I'm Fatima Meshtab, Marketing Director and Event Producer for Oasis Aqualounge.
So, as people know, when we started the Sunday Night Indigenous Sex and Love Show, we wanted to come from a sex-positive place that reduces shame and raises awareness. So today we came to Oasis Aqualounge, and thankfully Fatima had us over today, so we really want to learn a lot about what Oasis Aqualounge has to offer.
So we're going to ask a series of questions for her today, and I think we should jump right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so the first question we have, what is Oasis Aqualounge?
So Oasis Aqualounge is a water-themed, clothing-optional adult playground for consenting adults that are 19 plus. So we offer a sex-positive, body-positive environment in which people can explore their desires, connect with their partner on an intimate level, meet like-minded people, and just explore things in their life in a non-judgmental, supportive way.
Absolutely, and we really love that this is so aligned with what we're trying to do, especially with supporting people's sexuality, their sexual orientation, and their liberation of their own body. So we're really grateful that you have allowed us into here.
I'm so happy to welcome you.
In here as guests this evening. And so our second question is, can you tell us a little bit about the facility? Like, what's going to happen when you get here? Tell us about each floor.
Sure, so I'll sort of take you on a little bit of a tour. So when you first arrive to Oasis Aqualounge, you sign in at our pay station. Basically, you agree to the fact that you're going to be seeing sex and nudity, and you consent to that when you first come in. We offer complimentary locker and towel service. So you receive a locker where you can store your belongings, because we are clothing optional. So some people like to keep their clothes on, some people like to take their clothes off, some people like to decide. So we have a place where you can store your stuff. Our main floor, when you first come in, is we have a bar. It's a basic lounge space. People seem to think that as soon as you walk in the door to Oasis Aqualounge, you're going to see sex and orgies everywhere. It's not really the case. Like any facility, people come in, they need a minute to sort of gather and center themselves. So we have a bar, sometimes we have DJs, and as you travel up through the various stairs, we have a change room, a large change area, we have showers, we have various playrooms. So the room that we're in today is called the Oasis Ballroom. So we're sitting here on the stage, but it's also a place where we have workshops, performances, sex educators, burlesque, all different kinds of things within the sex-positive community, entertainers. We offer a dungeon space, and then on the very third floor, that's where our playrooms are. So at Oasis Aqualounge, you can have sex anywhere in the venue, but playrooms seem to be the most popular. They're spacious, they're comfortable. We offer safer sex items in every single room. And then we also have one private room on the very top floor. So for people that aren't maybe comfortable performing in front of others, they can use the private room. And I actually forgot to mention the most important thing about Oasis Aqualounge is that we have an outdoor heated pool.
Yeah.
Hey, and the pool.
Save the best for last. And that's open year round. So we're open 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. every single day. Even in the middle of winter, we have our outdoor heated pool open, and it's actually quite beautiful in the winter. There's steam rising from the water. It creates a really cool spa environment. We also offer a hot tub and a dry sauna too. So
Hey!
all of those things.
Right on.
Yeah.
So,
we're going to move forward to what does consent look like at Oasis Aqualounge?
So consent is really an important part of our culture here at Oasis Aqualounge. We've all heard the term no means no, but at Oasis Aqualounge we take it a step further, and we mean yes means yes. So for everything that you're doing and engaging in, you want to receive an emphatic yes from the person or people that you're playing with. So that can look like things like walking through or just communicating through whatever sexual activity you're doing, making sure, checking in to make sure that the person is comfortable, because because just because somebody consents to one particular type of play doesn't mean that they're going to consent to other things. And so you just want to make sure that you're always communicating that with your partner. We have a large amount of staff here. We have a lot of wonderful regulars that visit the club, and they're all looking out for everybody's safety. So if a customer or a staff member sees something that they feel may not be 100% consensual, they would talk to the people involved and sort of determine where the comfort level lies with that. So safety and consent is a huge part of Oasis Aqualounge, and we're probably a little more strict than most clubs are, but it's really important that people feel safe and comfortable when they're here.
Absolutely. You guys have such a great reputation as well. And what I really love is, because Lauren and I also do a lot of video series about relationships, and it seems that when we're talking about sex and relationships, one of the key things seems to be communication.
Yeah.
And communicating with our partners and making sure that we're having these relationships where we can actually have open dialogue about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, both in our relationships and in our sex life. We cannot stress how important communication is to making sure that we're having healthy, productive sexual lives. So
I also want to add though, I also really love that Oasis Aqualounge promotes a safe place for you to have sex with strangers, because it happens regardless in our community. For our youth, they're engaging in sex with strangers, but this is an environment where you are safe because it is being monitored. So I want everyone to keep that in mind, that this is, if it's going to happen, like this is actually a safer place to do it.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to add on that too, because we have a lot of events that encourage people, and especially women, to explore their sexuality in ways that may be shunned upon in vanilla society. And it's really important for us to create an environment that is safe, and also a community environment where people are looking out for each other. Yeah, and we have some really great events where playing with multiple partners is encouraged, and it's probably the safest environment that you can do something like that in.
That's so true.
Absolutely, and when we talk to, we always come from a harm reduction stance as well, and we want to make sure that we're reducing harm. So if people are coming to an establishment like this, it could also reduce meeting people randomly at hotel rooms or meeting out on the streets, and we always want to promote safety first. So we're going to jump into the next question. And so we talked a little bit about consent. Now, how does consent and intoxication work at Oasis? Because you guys are an open bar, right? Or open LCBO?
Yeah, licensed facility.
Yes, absolutely.
So we, at Oasis Aqualounge, it's a big building. We have lots of staircases. We have a pool. We have water facilities. So we don't want our guests to become intoxicated. We actually reserve the right to cut people off if we feel that they are drinking too much. Again, because we just want to make sure that everybody's playing safe and being comfortable. We want people to have a good time. Obviously, we want people to order drinks. We encourage that. But at the same time, illicit drugs, alcohol, we do monitor that, because again, there's just so many liabilities in the club where things could happen, and we don't want that to happen at all. And again, that all sort of plays into consent too. You can't really communicate with somebody if you're so under the influence that you can't even, voice if you feel uncomfortable with something or not. So, yeah. And I actually want to add, it's interesting because there's clubs in the States, all the clubs in the States, swinger, sex clubs, lifestyle clubs, they actually don't allow the sale of on-premise alcohol, mixing sex and nudity and alcohol. So it's interesting because in Canada the laws are really different. But there are a few clubs that actually sell alcohol. A lot of them are sort of BYOB. They don't sell alcohol on premise. In Ontario, I think it's fine, but other provinces, I think the law's a little bit different, and definitely different in the States too.
Okay, that's really good information to know. And I remember you mentioning to us that people do bring contraband or whatever into the sex club depending on the situation. It can be really strict where they're banned for life and stuff.
Yeah, we don't allow outside liquids into the club. So I wouldn't even bring a bottle of water. We have water at the club, we have tap water. We don't allow outside alcohol. And yeah, again, depending on the situation, it could either be a matter of sorry, you have to come back next time, or if you show up intoxicated, sorry, come back next time. Or it could escalate to a situation where a customer is banned. That's always a case-by-case basis. But we're always coming from a place of safety, comfort, fun, and we don't want anything to conflict with that.
Liberation and freedom, right? Absolutely.
Okay, we have a more fun segment, a true and false segment. So the first question I'm going to ask Fatima, is it true that you have to be a couple to gain entrance into Oasis Aqualounge?
No, you do not have to be part of a couple.
Yay, to all the singles.
No, so let me clarify. So from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday daytime, the club is open to women and couples only. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday allows single folks to visit, single cis men, and sometimes Sunday nights as well. For Mondays, we have a student night, so it's called SAS After Class, and you need to be between the ages of 19 to 35 to attend. It's for students. You know,
it's a younger crowd.
It's a younger crowd, and we really want to cater to that. It's really important for the newer generation to have access to sex-positive information and things like that. So you do not have to be part of a couple most of the time. We definitely suggest that you check the website, check the admission. All of our information is there. It's listed on our event calendar, in our FAQ section, but we do really want to cater to couples as well, because we think it's really important for people and partners to be able to connect and make time for intimacy, especially in Toronto where everything's so busy and we're moving so fast. So this is sort of an oasis from that.
Absolutely. And so, what do couples need to know if they're coming to Oasis Aqualounge? What type of information we provide to them that they may need to have discussions around and to make their visit here enjoyable, exciting and fun and safe at the same time?
Well, I love this question because I actually present a workshop called Your First Visit to a Sex Club. I've presented at a couple of different trade shows, and the first thing I think it's really important is that both people in the relationship need to be on the same page about visiting a sex club.
Yep.
If one person is into it and the other person isn't, you're going to run into some trouble. It might bring up feelings of insecurity and jealousy, things like that. So just make sure this is something that you definitely want to do as a couple, because this is a chance for the two of you to really connect, and you want to make sure that this is something that you're ready to take a step in your relationship. So have that conversation beforehand. Another thing to discuss is what your hard limits are, your boundaries, but also things that you really want to enjoy. So what kind of things do you want to get out of from this visit? You could be a voyeur, you could be an exhibitionist, you could just talk to couples in the lifestyle, get a little bit more insight. So there's lots of different ways that you can take in this visit. And as a couple, think about what it is that you really want to spice up in your relationship. Discussing hard limits and boundaries is super important as well, and I really suggest that people figure out that before you come in the door, because you might get really overwhelmed by the environment, and you might find yourself saying yes to things that maybe you're not 100% sure about, but you don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable, or you don't want to disappoint your partner. So map out, I want to try this, I definitely don't want to do this, this is a maybe, we'll see how it goes, and just make sure that you really respect and honor each other's boundaries, because again, this visit is about you, the two of you together. One thing I like to suggest is having a safe word or a code sign. If you're in a situation where you feel uncomfortable, say you're playing with other people, you and your partner, and something happens and you're just not comfortable with that, and you don't maybe feel uncomfortable voicing that out loud or making the situation awkward, you could have a signal, tug on your ear, or just a wink or something that lets your partner know that you want to get yourself out of the situation. Maybe you want to leave the venue. And I think that's a really good tactic. I actually use that in my own life, and I find that's really helpful. And it kind of makes you feel like you're on the same page with your partner, like you're part of a team. And I really like that too.
Teamwork equals dreamwork.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the community is also understanding, because it is a community here. So if someone does kind of walk out on a playtime session with multiple people, they're understanding, okay, that's fine, right?
Yeah, I like to say, don't be afraid to ask, but also be okay with the word no. Because people, when you come to a sex club, people want to have sex, or they want to be asked, or they want to be able to say no, or whatever. So conversations, questions hey, do you want to play, or could we talk to you for a little bit? That's very common here, and it's more common than it would be at a vanilla club. So it's totally okay to open yourself up and ask questions and open yourself up to the possibilities, but also maintain your expectations and be okay with no, because that's going to happen too. You're going to say no, and other people are going to say no, and that's just part of the vernacular.
And one of the things I really like too about Oasis is just because you're coming to a sex club does not mean that you have to participate in sex. at all. You can really take your time slow at this facility. You can come and just access the pool, have an adult beverage with your partner, and just visually see the space and get more comfortable. There's no rush at this environment. That was one of the feelings that that we had when we came for our tour. Was that it was a very, very open-minded and they respect individuals for where they're at in their relationship, and Oasis Aqualounge staff do everything they can to support that.
Yeah, 100%. Everything here is at your comfort level. Everything from our clothing optional policy to who you talk to who you play with, to not having sex at all. Like we're a liberated, non-judgmental environment for you to explore things at your own pace, and you don't have to compare yourself to other people here.
Which brings us to our next question. What do you got to wear? What do you got to wear, and what do people typically wear at Oasis?
Well, it's such a mind-blowing thing for people to come into a place where they A, don't have to wear anything, or B, can wear anything they want. Like, that is not something that our society really fosters. So I would say that the most common look that you'll see at Oasis Aqualounge is somebody with a towel wrapped around their body, because we have complimentary towels here, we have a swimming pool, so that's a very common look here. It's pretty casual as far as dress code goes. Nights sometimes lend itself to a more themed dress, and especially if you're going out on a Saturday night, like you might, put a little bit more effort into what you're wearing, but the dress here is pretty casual. So people wear anything from absolutely nothing to lingerie, bathing suits, full clothes. It's totally at your comfort level, and that's why we have lockers too, so that you can change your mind if you want to. And one of the cool things that I love hearing is somebody coming into the space and maybe they're not 100% comfortable with their bodies, and they're like, oh, I don't want to be naked here, I don't like my body, and oh, what if I'm the only person that looks like this? And they see the diversity of bodies here, and they then get the confidence to shed clothes if they choose to, and they feel so empowered. And I love hearing those stories, because there's nothing worse than coming into a venue and feeling like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be good enough to be here, and then you're just like, no, I got a body like everybody else. We're all different and we're all human, and it's totally okay. And then it just becomes not a big deal, to be honest. It just insecurities just fly out the window.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. When I first came here, there's just such a diversity in different types of bodies, and everybody was just so open and so kind to each other and respectful to
And even in terms of age as well, there was such a good, there was people of all ages, of all ethnicities, of all sexual orientations, of all different shapes and sizes, and it was, and everyone was really comfortable with each other when we came for our tour. We were really, I think that was really, really nice to see such a great group. I think we're at that one.
Okay, so we're gonna ask another question. So, are you guys inclusive to the LGBTQ community?
Yes, 100%. Anybody of any identity or gender identity, sexual orientation is welcome at Oasis Aqualounge. I myself am queer, gay, whatever, different labels. I have different labels for myself, but I actually produce an event called Oasis Aquatica, which is exclusively for women and trans folks. So single cis men, or cis men in general, are not able to attend that event. We do other events such as swordplay, which welcomes bisexual men and the people who love them. In the sex positive, I wouldn't say community, but I would probably say sex clubs, bisexual men are not necessarily catered to. Bisexual women certainly are, and in gay bathhouses, gay men, things like that, but bisexual men seem to kind of be left out of the mix. And so swordplay is a really great event because it welcomes that, gets rid of the taboo, gets rid of the stigma, and I think it's really important to have at the club. We're also really big on, focusing on people's pronouns, inclusive language. All of our staff receive extensive training on, trans identities, and it's definitely something that we've grown to increase awareness of over the past couple of years, because we're in the gay village, so we have a lot of amazing queer businesses all around us. We have, you were saying, such a diverse group of people that come to visit us, and you realize that gender just isn't on the binary. There's lots of different ways that people express and identify themselves, and we believe that sexuality should be accessible to everybody, and so we definitely welcome that in the club.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what I really like too about Oasis Aqualounge is the, people get this idea that this is a sex club, but you guys do a lot of educational workshops.
Yeah.
And and inform people about their rights, about their body, about trans issues, and different various stuff. And I think that's really great that you guys do that as well.
Yeah, it's so great to be a part of this community, and I've said this before on other like shows that we're a hub for all different sort of facets in sexuality. We welcome kinksters, people in the fet scene, swingers, you know, queer demographic. Like, we have such a great collection of people, and there's so much learning that's going on and so much networking, and it just creates like such a beautiful environment here. Like, yes, it's a sex club, yes, it's fun, but it also is like a true community.
And so what is your favorite part about working for Oasis Aqualounge?
Oh, I have a lot of favorite parts because like one of the things I like to do is produce events for the club. So I don't produce every single event on the calendar, but I have a couple that I really love. And that's a way for me to express like my own creativity and things like that. I also really love like connecting with like in like businesses and communities, like how I met you, you know?
Yeah.
That's really awesome. I really like producing porn, so I'm the porn producer at Oasis Aqualounge. I work with my director, his name's Jason Jones, so that's been really interesting. It's a lot of details, it's a lot of organizing, it's a lot of go with the flow, which is a bit of a challenge for me, but like it's still exciting to see something that you coordinated like on the big screen. And I also really love being able to provide porn talent with a safe and professional place in which to like develop their craft, because I mean I believe sex work is real work, and that's a facet of sex work, and I think that anybody that is in that industry like needs to have a safe and professional place to work in.
Aww. So we want to thank you so much for giving us the time today. Can we give you some love?
For sure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to be here. We're so happy to host you here. I'm already here, but
Absolutely.
Amazing experience working with you and getting to know you and like gaining your insight in this industry, because it's really such like an empowering, freeing industry.
yeah, and we're very supportive of each other too in this
it's
industry.
very creative as well.
Well, we look so forward to doing future work with you
Amazing.
guys.
Yes,
So
very
thank you
excited.
so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Okay, all right, everybody. So me and Lauren had an exciting interview today with Fatima, who has been absolutely outstanding in supporting us. And so Lauren and I just wanted to make a segment, because before we came today, we actually came for a tour while Oasis was up and running, so they had lots of people here. And so we're just gonna let you know what our first impressions were, and I'll let Lauren start off.
So when I first arrived at Oasis Aqualounge, it was really exciting. It has such a great atmosphere to it. Like, it feels like you're in California at a resort or something. Like, people are happy, the sun was shining that day. It was super hot, so a lot of people were in the pool. That was the first place we really got to explore the deck and where the pool is, and it's a heated pool. You know, lots of people were naked, all sorts of body types, all sorts of people just coming together and enjoying the sun, enjoying the summer, enjoying each other's presence. So it was really nice to start off our visit there, really set the tone. And then after that, like, we got to explore other areas. You know, you saw lots of people dressed in whatever attire they felt comfortable with. So we mostly saw towels, and we moved on to like the second floor. And to me, like, this is the most exciting floor. Fatima forgot to mention that this space is where they actually shoot a lot of their porn. And then on this floor, they have the dungeon, which is a really exciting room. It has a bunch of like sex props and stuff. So like, there's a glory hole, there's a swing, there's a cage. It gets really exciting. It really allows you to like, you know, to embrace like your fantasies and whatever fetishes you have in like a safe space where they encourage it. And then like on top of that, like obviously it's monitored and people are respectful of each other's boundaries here. And then the third floor has also one of my favorite rooms, which is like this hippity dippity room. And when you go around the facilities, you notice that there's just so much safer sex like materials around too. So they have sprays, they have condoms, they have gloves, they have lube.
Yep.
So just to make sure the space is clean and is safe for you to utilize. And like upstairs, they have this hippie room with like this old like truck, and I love it. And they also have a lot of like lounging bed areas. But the space is just so nice, and the staff is just so amazing and like kind and welcoming and encouraging. To embrace yourself here, and that's what I really appreciate. It really is a community. You see that amongst all the clientele here, or visitors, if you want to call them. it's just a really great space.
Absolutely, and I think when Laura and I came here for our tour, the first thing that really stood out to me was the sense of community and the sense of comfortability of the individuals from this facility. I mean, like Lauren said, there was a lot of people who were completely nude, engaging and interacting with each other, and it actually seemed to be so friendship oriented and not just sex oriented, which was really refreshing to see in this environment, because I think I myself might have had some perceptions of what Oasis Aqualounge was all about, and I was actually halted in some of those perspectives, because the other thing too is I was concerned about even like my own personal body and stuff like that, but I seen people of all different shapes, of all different sizes at this facility, and being comfortable and being brave and being themselves, and I just thought that's, there's no truer form of freedom than when we can be who we actually are. And so when we carried on and had the opportunity to come up to some of the other rooms and see how individuals interact with one another, and even in some spaces how respectful people were when a couple was playing together or being intimate, people just being super respectful and providing them their space and not being intrusive. And so the reason why we wanted to make this episode was to stop shaming and creating stigma around not just Indigenous people, but all people around sex, because we see sex as something that's not only healthy, but also something that can be really enjoyable and help build meaningful relationships with our partners, and help build, most importantly, meaningful relationships with ourselves. And understanding what we like and what turns us on and what gets us going will help us have better relationships with our partners, and hopefully be able to be connected and happy and live a life full of liberation and freedom. I
think being comfortable with your body and embracing your body naked is a great form of self-love, and this space is somewhere where you can start that development, I think, because everybody's so positive about whatever body type you have.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about Indigenous people, and once again, I always bring back the fact that we're the Sunday night Indigenous sex and love show, and I think a lot of the body shaming and body dysphoria came from a lot of religious type perspectives and stuff like that. And I mean, when we think about our traditional people, I think nudity was something that was a lot more embraced and a lot more accepted traditionally, and through westernized civilization, we've really started to put shame and stigma and over-sexualize people by associating nudity all the time with sex, when these are our bodies, these are our temples, and we want to make sure that we're honoring who we are. And obviously, at our own rate. Not everyone's going to feel comfortable showing their private parts, and not everybody is going to be there, but we want to make sure that we're making room to be inclusive, so that all people have a place where they don't have to be judged or treated unfairly or discriminated against because of their choices. And that's what the Sunday Night Indigenous Sex and Love show is all about. It comes from an anti-oppressive platform, and we want to make sure that we're talking about inclusion and creating a community full of vibrant connections.
Yeah. So I think that's a wrap for our episode today.
Absolutely, and we can't wait to bring you more episodes. Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope everyone enjoyed our final episode.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Cheers.